Hello, everybody. We figured we'd just have this fun, probably, I don't know, it's probably going to get heated at times. A little condescending because I get condescending.
Yes, you do.
But we're just going to talk about current events, what's going on, and give our perspectives. So, but you know what? Usually what happens is my dad, this is my dad, and he's usually calling me up or texting me and asking me my opinions on different things. And then we usually go back and forth. And I figure, why not just record it and, uh, you know, let the friends, family, public listen to our viewpoints. I have a feeling that most people will agree with you on most things. I think you're more of the popular side of things, but I know you want to talk about Venezuela, so let's just kick it off.
No. I think I want to go back to
Oh, geez.
the interaction that we had when I sent you that video that was that Bridget Gabriel about the Muslim Brotherhood.
Yeah.
And I said that I think we need to do certain things, and then you go off saying, well, that's you're going against the Constitution. And I'm saying, no, I'm not. And I think a lot of times you misunderstand because you're probably thinking how you're going to respond instead of really listening to me.
Okay, so let's talk about it. It.
So one of the things I said, I think there needs to be a deep vetting process and deny access if we can't get background information on people that are coming over. And I wasn't saying that just for people that are of the Muslim faith. I'm just saying, generally speaking, there's a lot of countries.
That's immigration. Yeah, I'm for that.
Well, no, because you said who defines necessary information.
No. I mean, there's a vetting process that's already put into place for immigration for specific reasons.
Yeah, your response to me was, and I have it up here, who defines necessary? Who decides what's deep enough? You're handling the bureaucracy, the power to make subjective religious judgments.
Yeah, because it was based on like faith, and I don't agree with that, because then you're selecting one faith over another faith, and that's not true for you.
No, what I was saying was, yes, it was initiated by that video that I sent you that happened to deal with the Muslim Brotherhood, but my position is broader than just that. It should be vetting on anyone that comes over. And we have problems because 10 or 15 million people came across the border in the previous 4 years that nobody knew who they were.
So I don't know where the disconnect is, but you can bring up your original email if you want, because right now I'm telling you that, yes, I think that there should be a vetting process, because at the end of the day, whatever society it is, everybody, as long as they agree, which we don't, but as long as they say they agree to the principles and the morals that the country was founded on, then I don't care who it is in the country, right? I don't care if it's everybody's black in the country that I'm in, I'm the only white guy, or everybody's Muslim.
I'm not saying that, but you have to vet people.
Yeah.
Okay, so we agree on that.
Yeah, but you could bring up the original email if you want, or I could just share a screen.
I have it up, but we don't need that per se.
I'm just saying, like right now, I'm agreeing. So I know, and I haven't looked back at that email. So there had to be something in there that I disagreed with on a fundamental level. Yeah,
there is. Well, let me go to the next one. Well, the second thing, because you responded to each one of my points.
Yes.
So the second one was, I said we need to look at the risk posed by those currently in the country and remove those that pose a threat. You're okay with that?
Yeah. So the way that I took that is it was based on the Muslim Brotherhood trying to
Right.
take over the US from the inside, right?
Right.
So okay, so this makes a lot of sense. So
And that's a small group of people, obviously.
it doesn't,
Yeah.
it could be 100 million, it could be 10 people. Those things don't matter to me, right? What matters to me is the principles. So what you're saying is people that are already citizens, we should.
No.
Well, you're talking about people that are here illegally that are Muslim?
Not Muslim per se, but okay, whether they're here legally or illegally,
Well,
if
it's two different
they
things.
pose a threat.
Well, okay, so legally, right? So then what you're saying is if somebody is an American citizen, right? Here legally, an American citizen, you're saying
They may not be a citizen, but be here legally. You don't.
Okay.
There are other people that are here legally that are not citizens.
Okay, so let's just get down.
Citizens and anybody here legally are going to go through the regular legal process that if the government looks into them because they have credible belief that there is an issue, then they're going to go through the regular legal process.
And so that's an extremely dangerous thing. And I'll explain the reason why. Okay. So what you're saying is whatever administration is in at that time, right? They have the power or whatever it is to say, hey, we think that these people or this group of people are possibly a danger, a threat to our country, right?
Okay, so you're talking about the Muslim Brotherhood specifically now.
I could care less. It doesn't matter.
You have to, because I'm not saying Muslims generally. If you're talking about a group that specifically is trying
let's just say it's the Ku Klux Klan. Okay. Let's just say it's freaking.
That's good. Ku Klux Klan is good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what I'm saying is it doesn't matter who they are, right? The government, if they're here legally, like first of all, there are laws on the books that if people are doing things that are illegal,
right,
or they're planning something, so that's no issue, right? Like the FBI, whatever, can investigate. Okay.
Right. So we both agree with that. Right.
Yeah. But just to say somebody is a Muslim or they're, a white supremacist or whatever, quote unquote, whatever that means, right? On Muslim side, if they're Muslim based faith or whatever, right? Or part of the Ku Klux Klan and they're not doing anything wrong. They're just associated.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, of course, if they're doing something fine, or if they're doing something that's
that's a problem, Anthony. You assume, based on my statements, the most negative thing there could be.
If you read,
all I said is
I'm about to bring up the email. You want me to share a screen? Okay.
Bring it up.
All right. Do you have it? Because
I have it.
So can you just share a screen?
Forward it to you?
No, just share a screen. So, I mean, I could go try to find it. You could, and I could share a screen, but
now you're making me do something. Here we go. Share screen.
Boom. You're tech savvy. Just share that tab or whatever.
That's what I'm trying to do. The window.
I mean, you're extremely tech savvy for a 94-year-old, and you look good for 94 as well.
Yeah, thanks. Did you get it?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you're sharing it. You're sharing it. Okay, so you got to zoom in here. So, wait, what does number 1 say?
Number 1 is deep vetting process. Deny entry if we can't acquire necessary background info.
What does it say up there? What is it above that, though?
Above it?
Yeah. Well, no,
I put some time into this. Maybe it'll sink in.
But what's your original email say?
Oh, my original email is
It needs to be a
I
multi-pronged.
think there needs to be a multi-pronged approach. It must start with very deep vetting. And all you did was took my points and then
Right, but there was
you,
an email at the beginning, no?
oh,
I think we need to wake up.
Wake up.
Okay, so this video was about somebody explaining that there was
The
you know,
Muslim Brotherhood, their doctrine that she shared,
and
in
that
the
they're trying to like
video,
infiltrate the
that their
country.
plan is to eliminate and destroy the Western civilization from within.
Right,
That was the basis
right.
of their doctrine.
Yes. So
This
then,
is the Muslim Brotherhood. This is not Muslims. This is a group of
the Ku
people.
Klux Klan. I just think of the
Right, yeah.
anybody, any group
Yeah.
that could be considered a bad group, right?
Right.
So, all I'm saying is the government shouldn't be able to willy-nilly, based on somebody being associated with a group.
A terrorist group?
Well, because what I'm saying is,
No, I think you're wrong there. If somebody is associated with a terrorist group,
right,
whether it's Ku Klux Klan, the Muslim Brotherhood,
yeah.
the government has, I think, should look at that.
So the issue here is that whatever government, okay, is in at the time can label any group a threat. Okay, so it could be the MAGA people if Biden's in, right?
So how do you deal with that?
You deal with it by freedom of speech, not stifling speech, allowing.
I agree with freedom of speech, but how do you deal? So let's take
I forget.
Yeah,
I forget what founding fathers said it, but it's like if you sacrifice a little bit of liberty for freedom, you will have neither, right? So there's always there's a principle-based thing that right when you give the government a little bit of leeway to essentially invade somebody's privacy based on a threat of being associated with the group, it becomes this subjective argument. So point blank, if it's Biden or the Democrats or whatever in the White House that, let's just say, they're horrible, or let's just say it's Republicans, it doesn't matter, and they're doing nefarious things that are horrible.
Let's say it's
whatever. It could be George Bush. Who cares? Like it could be any government that is in power. Okay,
right.
They can always then label the other group that could be trying to expose them. What happens if this Muslim Brotherhood knows something about some shady stuff going on in the government and they're trying to call the government out on it because they've been oppressed? Like, I don't know what these things are. At the fundamental level, what I'm saying is once you give the government that, now it's to me, the means don't justify the end, right? So like if a good outcome comes one time out of 100, cool. So you're losing all of your liberty essentially because you're giving the government the ability to overstep their boundaries. That's it.
So you live in this perfect world.
It's not a perfect world.
So wait a minute.
Yeah.
So tell me, how do you decide to look at someone that is working with a terrorist organization?
So they have to be doing something that is against the law to actually go in and be able to vet them and bring a case against them, not just because they're associated. You cannot be guilty by association. That's the biggest thing. So
but
hold on. Wait, let me just finish. Okay, that's fine. We could talk about guilty by association and you already know how it works, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. And that's not even on any type of level, right? So what ends up happening is if you give the government that power, okay, they will always have that power. And so they can squash anybody that is opposing them because all they have to do is label them a threat, and they can go ahead and indict them, they can arrest them, and they can shut them up because they could be. So in history, I am much more afraid of a very powerful government doing very bad things behind the scenes than I am of the Muslim Brotherhood, right? If the federal government, military industrial complex, CIA, NSA is doing something that is nefarious, the harm that they can do in the world is 100x what some small group can do within our country. So that's the reason why. That is the whole reason why it's protected.
Okay, so your position is you can't look at anybody. You can't determine if a group is bad or not. Everybody is wonderful. The government has no authority to do anything.
First of all, there's probable cause, and the government can bring.
Well, who decides it's probable cause? You just said you can't give that to the government.
Well, that's the scary thing. Right now, it's 10 times too weak. It's so easy for the government to indict somebody, right? They say you can indict
Anthony, look.
Right, but it doesn't mean it's right.
The reality is it always has been, even probably back when the founders started the country.
No, definitely not. It's definitely deteriorated over time.
I was there. You weren't.
Well, you weren't there when the founding of the country.
Yes,
you were no, you were probably 13 or 14 years away from the founding of the country. No, but the issue is, let's just say when Trump was running, okay?
I don't want to use people. I don't want to use.
You have to use the
Democrats, Trump, Biden. That's not what this is about.
Okay.
So
let's
not even do that.
The fundamental principles are argued, right? But now you have to bring it to real life scenarios, right? So we disagree on the fundamentals. I think that the government has way too much power and that they can squash the dissent way too easy.
I'm not even disagreeing with that. I'm just saying, what is your plan?
That's what you're saying in a different manner.
No, I'm not. I am not saying that. I believe that there needs to be.
You could stop screen share if you want.
There needs to be probable cause. But the problem is that you say, who decides what probable cause is? The government, if they're corrupt, they can say blowing your nose too hard is probable cause, that you probably have something hidden in there. So tell me operationally how you would define that and who's got that power.
So wait, good. I was just thinking about this recording and whether it's showing both of us, but go ahead, say it again. I'm just seeing you. You're just seeing me too, so whatever.
So my question to you is, I believe there needs to be probable cause to look at someone that may be doing something nefarious. You just said you can't give the government that. So operationally, how do you do it? How do you decide who decides, since you're saying government shouldn't be doing
it? No. Probable cause is already there. I'm saying that somebody has to, they cannot just be interrogated, or they cannot be looked into because of association. They cannot be guilty by association.
Well, I disagree with that.
Okay, so that's the fundamental disagreement. So, so what you're saying is, if somebody is associated with
a nefarious group, a nefarious group.
Take
religion out of it.
Okay.
A nefarious group, a group that is.
That's the subjectivity. That's the subjectivity argument. So I'll give you a for instance.
That's a subject. How do you say that?
Because define nefarious.
Okay, so who's going to define it in the government?
Exactly.
So tell me your plan.
So what I'm saying is,
you don't have a plan.
No. I do. The thing is that you can't have. Nefarious has to be defined, and it's already defined in the law. Okay, that they They are actively doing something that is against the law,
Yes,
not
okay.
because they're part of a group, right? So hold on a second.
No, I'm not saying you're not listening to anything I'm saying. I
Well, we
am
got this
saying,
recorded.
yeah, okay, good. So we can go back.
Yeah.
What I am saying is if they are associated with a nefarious group, that because this group has been planning something and the government has seen that they're doing it, you're saying the government should not be able to look at that person.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, and the law supports this, but the law is overstepped by the government all the time. But let's just say we'll take the Ku Klux Klan, okay? Let's just say that the Ku Klux Klan, there's somebody that's associated with the Ku Klux Klan. Like he's part of the Ku Klux Klan. But let's just say he doesn't go to any of their events or whatever. And let's just say there's 10 people that are conspiring to go freaking rob somebody that's black's house and try to kill him. I don't know, right? Let's just say 10 people are doing that. And Joe Schmo has really no clue about it, okay? But he's part of the Ku Klux Klan and he's been to some events, but he knows nothing about this plan of these 10 guys that are going to go do something. How do you
know he doesn't know anything?
Well, because so right there, you're saying that then the government can say, it's kind of like the Edward Snowden thing. You can essentially find people guilty by association any way you want. And within 3 jumps, you can cover the whole United States. So then everybody loses their privacy.
Answer my question. You said this person is associated with this group that's planning something bad.
Yes. So it would have
gone to some of their meetings.
Yes. So
but you're saying, but the government shouldn't look at him,
right?
Because
so
they don't know that
let's
he's
just say
been planning with them.
Let's just say that the government, okay, finds out that these group of 10 are going to plan something, and let's just say that Joe Schmo texted one of these guys, but it was, hey, buddy, I'm having a barbecue over my place or whatever.
No, that's not what you said previously. Previously, you said they've gone to the meetings.
Yeah, what I'm saying is guilty by association would allow the government, just hear me out.
It's not guilty by association. It's a concern because of the association. They're not saying they're guilty.
Right. So now you're saying they're concerned by the association. You have to bring this back to the Trump stuff because it's the only thing that will hit. Okay. MAGA will hit. Okay. So it essentially would have given the Biden administration the ability that anybody that was part of the January 6th raid or whatever, that it would have given the Biden administration and the FBI and federal prosecutors the ability to essentially go and arrest a ton of people that are part of MAGA.
Right.
No, I'm talking about times 1,000. If they arrested 200 people, I'm talking about 200,000 people they could have arrested, or even more, because I could have been texting one of those people that was there. It's just a slippery slope, and it gives the government so much power.
Okay, so tell me how you would do it.
The way that the Constitution and the laws protect it.
But tell me, you are now in charge of
Right.
the United States and the legal system in the United States.
Yeah.
How are you going to implement what you're saying?
Yeah. So it's simple. If somebody is being investigated and there is extremely credible and
why are you investigating them?
No, because at some point somebody is being investigated for something. I don't know. Somebody got some hard evidence. I don't know how it starts, but like,
go ahead.
I mean, it happens all the time.
The second step. Gotcha.
Yeah, of course, because the first step is like it's already proven, right?
Right, it's already proven. There's
like the Muslim Brotherhood is, doing
Right,
this, and this evidence has already been given to us, and cool, it's good evidence. So the second step away would be somebody in MAGA or the Muslim Brotherhood or whatever the heck it is actively talking about a crime that they're planning, something that is against the law. That's it. Because what ends up happening is if there isn't that crime that they can tie somebody else to, it gives them, let's just say,
Too broad of a.
They could squash all of MAGA. They could literally just go out and just arrest everybody because this MAGA person was sending a message on X to this person or Facebook to this person.
But I think that's going a little, because MAGA is not a group per se that you belong to. It's a philosophical thing, make America great again.
Now you're getting into semantics.
Yeah, well, it's all semantics.
Okay, so what's the difference?
Stay with the Muslim Brotherhood then.
Yeah.
Okay, so the issue is the FBI has been investigating the Muslim Brotherhood because somebody came to them,
right,
from the Muslim community and said, I've been hearing.
No, not I've been hearing. I have this evidence that these guys are going to do this, and here it is. Okay, cool. We have hard evidence. This person texted this person, or I was at this meeting and there's a corroborating witness that says, yes, these guys said this and they're going to do this and they're planning it. Hard evidence. Boom. Cool. From there, cool. Go investigate, Muhammad, whatever. Okay.
So what you're saying is that should not give the government the authority to investigate other people that have been at the Muslim Brotherhood meeting.
Zero.
What?
Zero, because they
have not been involved
in a crime or trying to plan a crime. That would squash the First Amendment. That would squash freedom of association. It's literally one of the bedrocks of our entire country. Why? Because there were small groups in our country that were fighting the government and an overbearing government for freedom, right? That's what they fled from. Okay. And small associations and small groups are the ones that are very passionate and can actually uncover corrupt governments. And it is so easy for a powerful, corrupt government to squash everybody in that association because they're associated with it. You can't do it. There has to be a crime associated with it. If we even tiptoe around it, you're giving up the number one freedom that is the bedrock of our society. It's like the number one thing. It allows the federal government to squash dissent because it's so easy for them to take out MAGA. Even if MAGA was, good thing that MAGA caught fire and it became so enormously big, right? Because if it stayed 10,000, 20,000 people, easily squashed. They were, the government infiltrated Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and they censored people on the MAGA side, but there was just too much. They were censoring COVID. All this shit is completely way too much power, and it's corrupt. It can't happen. It's not freedom. Freedom to express your opinions is everything. Your grievances.
I am not saying anything about freedom of speech, and I also don't think I also don't think that your belief or your opinions or whatever you say, even if people hate what you say, is an issue. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, how do you then determine if because I've been at meetings and we know that this group is planning something,
the whole group is not.
How do you, so then how do you ever find that coordination?
I can't, I just have to bring it back to MAGA
Yeah,
because
you're just saying you can't look at me
you can't
until
unless
I do something wrong. But how do you know I've done something wrong if you're not looking at me?
because you have evidence from people that are doing things wrong and you're associated with them actually saying, yeah, I'm down. Let's go do this. I got this, this, and this.
Well,
That's
how do you know I'm saying that though?
Dad.
You're saying somebody in the group that's planning this bad action has to say to the government, hey, Mike is saying this.
All right, Dad. Let's just say Muhammad, okay, is planning to do something. Okay.
Let me call you back. I'm on.
Is that Joe?
I'm on with Anthony. Okay. Bye. No, that was my love. So
Dad, hold on a second. Let me just.
And then we need to stop this because if I was watching this, I'd be bored already.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, we'll stop it. So there has to be hard evidence. That's it. Okay. So what? Hold on, Dad. Hold on. You're saying that the person that is planning the crime is going to go to the federal government and tell them that this other guy? Okay.
No.
That's what you just said before.
No, I'm saying to you. So
how do you do it?
If there's this group of 10 and I go to the meeting and I say, whoa, well, hey, yeah, I'm in on this. Now there's 11.
Yeah.
How does the government then have the right to look at me? Because they don't have any hard evidence.
Well, because
plus what you're saying is now that they're listening to the 10 people.
Yeah, of course.
And then, but what if this is done and there's not?
There has to be hard evidence, or else the government has full authority to take any association that they deem as a threat and take everybody out. The best, most recent example is MAGA. If they knew that these people were MAGA and they were extremists, right? They were saying that they're extremists, and these people were on social media and discussing things with somebody else. And let's just say there's 200 people that were going to do the raid on the Capitol or whatever, and they were planning it for 6 months, right? And they're associated with MAGA. It gives the federal government the full authority that anybody that they were talking to, they're wearing a MAGA hat, make America great again, Trump this, whatever, they're on forums, they're talking to them. They could go arrest the entire, anybody ever associated, you, Jackie, me, whoever, and just throw them in jail and squash the entire movement. It has to be protected. So that's it. That's that. We're gonna wrap it up there. If you want one more thing.
Yeah. So let me just kind of wrap up what I think you're saying and what I'm saying. So what you're saying is the government has no right to look at someone that is associated closely with a group.
What is closely? You're saying closely. Closely means nothing. It's subjective. They have to be.
Okay, that goes to meetings where this group meets with this group.
Dad, what you're doing is you're sitting here playing these little subjective games. So okay. So let's just say MAGA's having a rally. They're having rallies all over the place.
No,
that's a meeting.
People meeting.
Dad, you're just getting into so much gray subjectivity that it gives the government so much power and just cast this wide net. And it's a subjective thing that they're saying, hey, they're at a Trump rally. That's good enough for us. I mean, they're all there. They're wearing, flags and hats, and they got to be associated with these guys that are planning to take over the Capitol. All right, let's go. Let's just freaking go get them all. But what you're saying, oh, well, maybe if there's only 30 people at a meeting, then, but they're not associated with these people that are going to go take over the Capitol. But it's a smaller gathering and they're wearing MAGA, then it's okay. Like, where does it stop? There's so much great, you can't do it.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, and I understand that.
Yeah.
I just think that there has to be something that precedes.
Here's the thing. Most people are probably going to agree with you, okay? Because
I don't even know that I agree with me. I'm just having a discussion
because here's what most people think. Most people think that the government is going to protect them, right? And if the government that they have, that they like, is going to protect them and do what they want. Democrats are in, cool, we're happy, they're going to protect me and they're going to protect everything that I love. And when the Republicans are in, oh, the Republicans are happy. Nobody ever thinks of the flip side. What happens when the Republicans are in and they squash all the Democrats?
Look, I understand that, and I'm just trying to come to grips with how you do it in such a way that it protects the rights and the liberties that we have.
The biggest disagreement we have is I believe that a larger government is actually 100 times scarier than a small group that's planning something. Because in history, okay, governments that have tons of power are the ones that enslave entire populations and hold them down. If there's a terrorist group that comes in and blows up the World Trade Center, which is horrible, things like this are going to happen. And it could be false flags on purpose to scare people to give up their liberties and freedoms.
Oh, and that happened. That happened after 9/11.
It's happened. Yeah, of course. They create laws.
They passed the laws that allowed them to gave them a lot more power than they should have had.
Yeah, so like the whole Snowden thing and all that. So at the end of the day, I believe that protecting groups and individuals actually gives us more freedom, because I believe that small groups, most people just want to live a good, happy life, right? And I think that small groups that are adamant about finding bad, corrupt things that are going on in the government is the best thing for our freedom. And I think that the people that are in power that are just printing money, giving it to this person, this NGO, whatever groups they want, other countries, they have all the military might, they're going to squash that little group, right? Because there's hundreds of billions of dollars to benefit.
And I don't totally disagree with you. I guess my only issue is what's the predicate that gets that first bit of evidence? How does it fall in their lap, I guess? This
is just regular law. You just can't go snooping in everybody's stuff to find things. I mean, even though they are, right? But yeah, there has to be hard evidence.
So what you're saying, the thing that you said, and then this is the last thing I'll say, and we can end it here, and then you can send me a copy so I can see what this terrible thing looks like. So what you are saying is that if someone comes to the FBI or whatever governmental law enforcement agency, it may be the local sheriff, and said, I was in a restaurant the other night and I heard these guys, and I know two of them, talking about a plan to put a bomb at PBIA.
Yeah.
That's not good enough.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah, I mean, if there's multiple witnesses that are saying
no.
First of all, hold on, Dad. I don't want to get. There's already laws on the books that handles this stuff, right? Like, what makes credible hard evidence that they can go investigate?
So my question to you is: I'm in a restaurant. Two guys that I know, not real well,
Listen, I get what you're
I
saying.
hear them talking,
Yeah.
and I go report it.
Yeah.
From what you said before, that's not evidence. So they
No.
cannot look at those two people.
No, I didn't say that before. I said
Oh,
somebody
okay,
can't
so
be
that
guilty
is.
by association. There has
No,
to
no,
be.
no, okay. So what you're saying is, if I overhear somebody talking about
Planning something.
I can go to the police, and from your perspective, the police can look at those people.
Yeah. So then they'll be like, okay, well, this guy said this. There's hard evidence that he heard them saying this, and he was with his wife, and she heard it as well. And they said they were going to plan it on this day.
No, it was just one person.
I mean, I don't, I don't know.
You don't want to get into the weeds.
Yeah, it's like too much.
Okay.
It's like, I don't,
Right.
There's already laws on
I
the books.
misunderstood you before, because before when we were talking, you said there has to be hard evidence. So that's not hard evidence. That's hearsay.
I don't know what the laws are on the books, but those type of laws are usually pretty good. If they were truly followed, I think they would be good. The government makes up false BS to go.
You know how I feel about the government. I think it's too big, and I think they have way too much power. And as an attorney that I know once said, they can indict a ham sandwich.
Yeah.
Well, how does that make sense? And the government's allowed to lie. How does that make sense? I mean, we could talk about stuff like that, but tonight I think it's
you digress. We'll talk about it another time.
All right.
I
love
you.
you. Bye.
Bye.